Throughout the entire Pokemon anime, it seemed pretty obvious that the dumbest mistakes made by Ash and the entire cast of characters happened in the original Kanto season. But man, I was so wrong, because let me introduce you to the second season of the Pokemon anime, the Johto region, where some of the stupidest shenanigans that have ever taken place happen right here. Because look, the first episode starts off with Ash and the gang traveling to find a Pokemon Center within the Johto region so Ash can register for the Johto Pokemon League. Ash's ego is at an all-time high since he just won the Orange Islands a few episodes ago, and he's bringing his fully leveled Kanto team to the Johto region, which is honestly pretty smart. Good job, Ash. Meanwhile, Professor Elm is working on a project, but we might as well call him Professor Dumbass because Team Rocket ends up breaking into his house trying to steal one of his starter Pokemon, Totodile, and this guy, Professor Elm, mistakes Jesse from Team Rocket, who is literally wearing a gang-affiliated uniform in his house, as a Nurse Joy officer. My guy, just because they both have pink hair does not mean they're the same person. Now I know how this guy Silver was able to steal his starter Pokemon, but it's okay because Ash and the gang pull up and they see a bunch of Officer Jennies actually doing their job for once and trying to figure out who stole the Totodile. Inside of the lab, Nurse Joy is lecturing Professor Elm, wondering how this even happened. And thank you, Nurse Joy. You are always my favorite because you are the voice of reason. All of this could have been easily avoided if Professor Elm, allegedly one of the smartest people in this region, just took 1 second to install a security system, or I don't know, not let active criminals just walk into his house and steal his Pokemon. It's fine though, since Ash and the gang pull up, they hear about the stolen Totodile and they want to help out. When they're talking to Officer Jenny, the investigation team comes over with some pretty good evidence. It's the footprints of the people that broke in, and now Officer Jenny rightfully doesn't know who this is, but Ash and the rest of the gang have no excuse because this is the paw print of 2 humans and a Meowth. I wonder what crazy class of characters happen to fit that description, but Ash looks at it like, wow, that's crazy. Good luck trying to find the criminals. And then later on in the episode where Ash and Officer Jenny find out it's Team Rocket, Ash is surprised that it's actually them.
I should have known it was you 3 all along. I'm placing all 3 of you under arrest for stealing that Totodile from Professor Elm's lab.
But wait, did you catch that? Officer Jenny said she's going to arrest Team Rocket and put them in prison for good. Finally, this is what we've been waiting for. Okay, I can forgive you for all your past mistakes. Let's just lock in and put these guys behind bars so this never happens again. Ash goes ahead and sends out Bulbasaur, and he knocks over Team Rocket, which is really great. And Ash is sending out Charizard too, so he's super locked in. We are finally going to arrest these criminals. They end up getting Totodile back, and Team Rocket is finally defeated. Let's go. Now all we need is Officer Jenny to arrest them.
Okay, everybody, let him have it!
Listen, Ash, it gets to a point because Team Rocket finally has a chance to get arrested by a police officer and they're fully defeated, but you decide to blast them off again. Ash is basically an accessory to this crime, and even Officer Jenny is confused why this happened. They end up bringing Totodile back to the lab, Professor Oak is confused about this whole charade, and Ash ends up getting registered for the Johto League, and he's off to finally go on his Johto adventure and defeat the gym leaders. But the mistakes only get so much worse from here, because when Ash and the gang are walking onto their next route, they end up seeing this new trainer that has a Chikorita. She ends up battling and capturing this level 5 Rattata, which is great because we all have humble beginnings, except for some reason Ash ends up calling her names, getting into beef, and challenging her to a Pokemon battle. Ash decides to use his Charizard, one of his strongest Pokemon ever, against his new trainer, completely obliterating her, making her cry, and all this led up to her getting influenced by Team Rocket to basically be their subordinate. If Ash had just been a good mentor to Casey instead of trying to aura farm in front of his friends for defeating a brand new trainer, she would have never gotten this mad and ending up helping Team Rocket steal a bunch of Pokemon. But in the end, it's all fine though, since Ash is not her babysitter, and the gang continues on their journey so Ash can start getting some gym badges. On their way to finding the gym, Ash ends up encountering a Chikorita on her route. Now this Pokemon is surprisingly pretty tough since it blocks the Pokeball Ash tries to catch it with, so Ash decides to send out his Charizard to weaken it. But little did everybody know, this Chikorita was the reincarnation of King Vaughn, since it was going toe-to-toe with Ash's Charizard. Even though Charizard wasn't taking it that seriously, this Pokemon still managed to double KO them. Now, I'm gonna ignore everything that just happened because this isn't the dumb mistake that I'm talking about. They end up taking Chikorita to the Pokemon Center since it's really injured. And guess who shows up at the door?
Okay, stand back, coming through. We're here to take this Chikorita to our special intensive emergency care unit.
My guy, it takes one mask and a trench coat and all of a sudden Team Rocket's able to swap identities. I don't know how Ash and the gang have no idea who these people are trying to steal random Pokemon after seasons of them stalking them. This whole charade ends up working and they try to manipulate Chikorita into wanting to join Team Rocket, but Ash does his usual thing, saving the Pokemon, and Chikorita ends up joining Ash's team. Now this Chikorita isn't innocent either, since it had some major attachment issues wanting to be Ash's star Pokemon even though it's not that guy, and got jealous all the time. But all that doesn't matter though, because we finally made it to the city where Ash is going to have his first gym battle. Now Ash is no rookie trainer, he's already done a whole region worth of gym battles. He's basically smurfing, so this first gym should be easy. He's up against Falkner, the flying type gym leader, and this is perfect because Ash's ace is Pikachu. He's super effective against all these people, so Ash should just send out Pikachu and destroy this entire team.
Chikorita!
Wrap it up. Let's actually just wrap this whole damn thing up, because why is Ash sending out his new grass type Pokemon who is weak to this entire gym? Even the gym leader Falkner is questioning why Ash did this, and even Chikorita is questioning why she came out. And what do you know, Chikorita instantly loses to the Hoot Hoot, getting eliminated from the gym battle. Even Brock and Misty are sitting there like, damn, I really feel bad for this Pokemon. Yeah, why the hell did Ash send him out? At least after this, Ash decides to lock in and finally sends out Pikachu, and he eliminates not one, but two of Falkner's Pokemon, and he was up against Falkner's Pidgeot, the ace of his team, and Pikachu got a little tired, so he got knocked out. And Ash decides to send out his Charizard, his strongest Pokemon ever, to defeat this Pidgeot. Thank you, Ash. This is the locked-in behavior that we all wanted to see, and it's paying off well. Just use Charizard and you can basically win every battle. But our boy Ash likes to play on hard mode, because after Ash gets his gym badge, word spreads about his Charizard being pretty powerful, so much to the point where he gets invited to this place called the Charizard Valley, where a bunch of Charizards gather, train, eat, sleep, and get stronger together. While Ash and the gang are traveling, even Team Rocket is saying that Ash's Charizard is way too OP. This guy is broken, and if Ash just didn't have Charizard, they would be able to defeat them. Brock and Misty even acknowledge this, telling Ash that nobody can really stand up to his Charizard.
Come to think of it, most Pokemon don't stand a chance against a Charizard, so using it is sort of unfair.
No way!
Now, I don't really get why they're criticizing Ash the second he's starting to become a fearsome trainer. It's kind of like they're preying on his downfall, but it's okay. All Ash has to do is train the rest of his team. His Charizard's on lock, just don't get rid of these Pokemon, right? When Ash almost makes it to the Charizard Valley, he meets Liza, the leader of this place, and she just gives Ash the challenge of flying around with Charizard on his back. When Ash tries to ride on Charizard, all of a sudden this is a difficult task where they can't fly and Charizard's stumbling, but this doesn't make any sense because when Charizard was a Charmeleon and he first evolved, he was able to fly around with Ash with ease. Liza now thinks that Ash is a fraud since this shouldn't be a difficult task, and she says Charizard wouldn't survive a day in the Charizard Valley, so she doesn't want to let him in. Obviously this gets them both mad, and when they go inside the Charizard Valley, they see a bunch of Charizards, and some of them are definitely aura farming, like why does this guy have a scar? But Ash's Charizard realized pretty quickly he's not that guy, and there are way more stronger Charizards than him. Team Rocket felt pretty bad for Ash's Charizard, and they actually helped him by faking an attack and making Charizard look good because he was the one to take the credit for defeating them. Because of this, Charizard was allowed in the Charizard Valley, but he would have to stay, so unfortunately Ash has to release him. And this isn't the mistake I think Ash made. The mistake he makes is when they're saying goodbye.
Stay if you want to. I can get along just fine without you. Ash, no! Who wants a weak Charizard anyway? So stay here.
Because I know it's hard to leave behind one of your ace Pokemons, but why did Ash just start trash-talking Charizard? He basically was saying he doesn't need a weak Charizard anyways, and he should come back when he's stronger, while Ash is running away crying, and nobody's buying this act. Ash, just say goodbye to Charizard properly and move on. But it's okay, because we can treat this like an investment, because a few episodes later, Ash ends up meeting Cyndaquil, the fire starter of this region, and he ends up adding Cyndaquil onto his team, a perfect replacement for Charizard. Except this Cyndaquil has one big issue. It doesn't like to fight. When Ash uses it in one of its first battles, it literally falls asleep and is uninterested in fighting, and it refuses to use its fire. This isn't even like a disobedience thing because this is a stage 1 Pokemon. It should be listening to Ash. It's just inherently lazy. But I do love Cyndaquil as a starter Pokemon, so I'm gonna give him a pass and redirect all the blame on Ash because he just needs to spend some time training Cyndaquil and giving him a good motivation to fight. We're not even 2 gym badges into Ash's new journey, and he has a worse team than when he started with, a group of Pokemon that don't want to listen to him, Ash choosing to purposely throw his Pokemon in fights they don't have an advantage in, and oh yeah, the GS Ball. I am not even going to get into the waste of time this item has caused Ash and the gang running across 2 regions to deliver this thing. So just please subscribe so we can forget about this item. Moving on, Ash continues his journey and it's not that bad for a while. He ends up making it to the second gym against Bugsy, and this guy is a straight weirdo because before the battle even starts, Bugsy's asking Ash all these weird questions like,
Before we start, I want to ask you something. Yeah, what? Have you ever heard the saying, the trainer who learns the rules of the bug Pokemon learns to rule the bug Pokemon?
I seriously need to find the person making these people gym leaders because all they can really do is just yap. Ash, please do not lose to this guy. The battle starts and Ash sends out Cyndaquil, which would ideally be a great pick since he has the type advantage, but we all know the drill with this Cyndaquil. He does not want to use his fire, so Ash decides to work around Cyndaquil throwing and just returns him so he can warm up his fire. Then he decides to send out Chikorita, and I don't know what he has against his Pokemon. He keeps sending out poor Chikorita every single time there's a type disadvantage. So please comment something like save Chikorita or justice for Chikorita because this is just cruel. By the grace of God, Chikorita was able to defeat its first opponent in the gym battle. This is what I'm talking about, the Chikorita that we all know. And then Bugsy decides to send out a Metapod, which should be a piece of cake. Since this thing only knows like 2 moves, Metapod uses Harden and Chikorita starts hitting it. Metapod responds by jumping in the air and using a tackle. But that's light work. This Chikorita's taking out Charizards, it's gone through the mud. This Chikorita is... It's knocked out? Are you joking? You expect me to believe that one tackle from a Metapod knocks out the Chikorita that was able to go toe-to-toe with Ash's Charizard? Oh my gosh, we're cooked. We're cooked, man. Ash ends up winning the battle because Cyndaquil finally wants to use its fire, but seriously, Ash needs to learn the type chart. After this, when Ash's team is at its lowest and needs good guidance, he ends up releasing his Squirtle because he wants to join the Squirtle squad again, and this isn't anything new, so let's just move on. He ends up replacing it with Totodile, and this Totodile just jokes around all the time and doesn't really want to fight. But for a while, this chaotic system is all working, and Ash and the gang continue traveling and getting some gym badges. Chikorita ends up evolving into a Bayleef, and one day when Ash and the gang are chilling, Ash ends up probably making one of his biggest mistakes yet, because Bayleef is messing around with Ash and ends up tackling him, and Ash gets pissed off. He basically says to Bayleef, "You're worthless, don't ever tackle me again, you suck, Pikachu's better, and just leave me alone." Obviously, Bayleef is pretty sad about this since she loves Ash, and Brock and Misty come over and are telling Ash to calm down. Later, when Totodile and Ash are eating some curry, Bayleef is walking over and just listen to what Ash says.
Stop right there, Bayleef! B, no more tackling, Bayleef! Now get away from me and stay away from me! Come on, Totodile, let's go eat our lunch.
This obviously hurts Bayleef since she loves Ash and she starts crying and runs away. And you would think this Pokemon is suicidal because it's staring at the edge of a cliff wondering if it should jump off. If Ash just calmly expressed to Bayleef that he didn't want to be tackled, this whole thing would have never happened. This guy is basically emotionally scarred his Pokemon for the rest of her career. After this is all said and done, Ash has a few gym badges under his belt, but the stupidest gym by far has to be when he's trying to get the mineral badge, because when he walks in, there's this little girl claiming to be the gym leader. She sends out an Onix as her first Pokemon, and it's pretty shiny. Ash sends out Totodile because Totodile has the type advantage, but there's a reason why this Onix is shiny. This girl gave this Onix a BBL plastic surgery extension because she covered him all over with baby oil so he wouldn't be affected by water type moves. What type of cheating is this in a gym battle? Please, we need a gym inspector, some type of regulators, because this is way too far. The real gym leader shows up and shuts down this entire charade, even condemning this girl for doing this, and thank you at least for holding some type of standard to these gym battles. But the fact this is even possible just blows my mind. Ash eventually ends up getting the real mineral gym badge and a bunch of other gym badges too, but there's one big elephant in the room. This Johto team is just straight ass, like barely anyone's fully evolved, and the ace of the team is Pikachu. This guy is on a 2-time championship run right now, so Ash was really in need for a star Pokemon, and he ends up getting an egg. They travel around with this egg for a while, wondering what it could hatch into, and I'm not even gonna waste your time. This is a Larvitar inside of this egg. It hatches, and it is the pseudo-legendary of this region. Yes, 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 it is like Ash won the lottery. All you gotta do is train this guy, evolve him into a Tyranitar, and you'll be slapping up Gary and everyone in the Johto League. You know what, Ash? I might have been way too harsh on you because this this was all worth it in the end. This is what it's all about. They end up traveling with this Pokemon for a bit, and it fits within the group super nicely, and one day when they're walking through the forest, they end up meeting another Tyranitar. The Tyranitar starts staring them down, but we should all just mind our business, keep it moving, until Brock says that he thinks that this Tyranitar might be our Larvitar's mother. Why did my man Brock have to say this, man? Because you're giving Ash a bunch of ideas about releasing this Larvitar. You already know where this plotline went. Ash goes ahead and releases the Larvitar so he can stay with the Tyranitar, even though Ash is really its parent. He's the one that raised them, but whatever. And for the cherry on top, we never got to see this Pokemon again, so we're back to square one. Even Ash must have realized at this point that it was a pretty dumb mistake, because he stopped using his Johto Pokemon entirely for the final gym and only uses Kantomons. After Ash gets his 8th gym badge, he ends up entering the Johto League, which is by far the most fair league ever. Like, everything made sense, the refs weren't rigged. Ash ended up having a fight with Gary and beating him, but we'll talk about Gary another day. And even though Ash lost to a trainer known as Harrison in the top 8, it wasn't that bad of a performance. The only thing I found stupid is that the winner of this entire tournament was someone named John Dixon, who only showed us 2 Pokemon as Rhyhorn and Rapidash, so I don't know. But the final mistake Ash made was in the last episode, where when Misty's chilling and gets a call from her sisters where they're asking her to take over the gym because they want to go on vacation, Misty is rightfully upset because she enjoys traveling with her friends, and when she goes to Ash to get some comfort, he's like, "Misty, what are you crying about? Just go to the gym and I'm gonna travel without you, see ya." Misty runs away from the group because she's hurt since no one really had a reaction to her leaving and they just treated it like nothing, but in the end, Ash and Brock ended up saying goodbye properly to Misty and telling her how much she matters, and they swear they'll see her again. Ash makes it to Pallet Town, and he's set to going to the Hoenn region, and he wants a fresh start, bringing no new Pokemon except Pikachu. Overall, I would say the start of Ash's Johto performance was definitely worse than his Kanto, but by the end of it, he started to smarten up. So you gotta like up and subscribe so we can cover the Hoenn region in a future video. Thank you so much for watching.